Um, all right, Juan, very nice to have you here. I'm super excited to discuss PPA's kind of your solar journey and learn a little bit more about you. And so what I want to do is just kind of turn it over to you. And if you don't mind, give everybody kind of an intro about you, Aztec Solar, what you've kind of been doing, how long you've been in the industry, things like that.
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Juan Mendoza. Like Kyle said, I work for Aztec Solar. And so Aztec Solar is based here in Fresno, California. That's right in the middle of Fresno. So we're exactly 3 hours south of Sacramento and 3 hours north of Los Angeles. So, and 3 hours away from San Francisco. So literally just right in the middle of everything. So, which is really cool. I've been in solar probably about 2 years now. Full time, I would say about a year now, close to a year now. And so when I first started, I started working with Aztec Solar, but they were just mostly an install crew. And so he's a good friend of mine. His name is Ronald Beardsley. And
Nice.
so they install all throughout California. And so literally San Diego to Redding, they install San Francisco Bay Area all the way to the desert. So throughout California, they definitely install. Been doing it for about 6 or 7 years now. And so so I started this journey sort of doing it part-time. You know, I had a full-time job. I was in the car business, making great money in the car business. And so I really didn't want to leave. I wasn't too sure about the whole solar thing yet.
Right.
Push came to shove. I left the solar business, jumped in at full time.
Nice.
I was sort of away from Aztec for a little bit because my buddy, he's an installer. So he's not too much of a sales guy, trainer, you know what I mean? So I went and sort of learned on my own, just sort of went on the journey and tried to figure this solar thing out. So I partnered with Apricot Solar. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I partnered with them. Very big on purchasing. Got like 6-7 deals out right away. Boom, boom, boom. Then I had a buddy who was working for Sunrun, and he was telling me his commissions, and I'm like, I'm thinking I did great, you know. So I'm here making like 6-7 grand, and which is great.
Right.
And he showed me commissions 15, 20. Like, wait a minute, this doesn't exist. This isn't real. I even showed my buddy that worked at Apricot. He's like, there's no way. Like, unless you're ripping the customer selling, he's like, there's no way. And so we're looking at it. So I'm going through this little motion with my buddy Chris, and he's now with Aztec Solar.
Right.
And so we're going through this, and I'm like, okay, so I sold it for this PPW on a purchase, and literally almost the same payment. You're making 5-6 grand more on a PPA.
That's insane.
And this was NEM 2.0. So things have changed a little bit. But you know, let's fast forward a little bit. So I was with Apricot for a couple of months.
Okay.
And then I transitioned to Sunrun because they're the door knockers. You know what I mean? Apricot was a lot of referral based prospecting, Facebook, you know, things I wasn't really familiar with yet. You know, Sunrun was straight more my style at the time. You know, they were more, let's get out there, let's put some work in, let's go knock on some doors. I was like, this is what I want to learn. I want to learn this because this is going to put more money in my pocket. And it was a better pitch. You know what I mean? It's hard to go knock on a door and ask people to spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000.
Right.
Right. So I learned the PPA, but the benefit about the PPA is we knock on their door and we offer them the same benefits of going solar, but without getting to any type of debt. That's crazy. It's crazy.
And for context, the other day you and I were speaking and my mind was blown. You basically put on we were on a call maybe 15 minutes, and it was a masterclass on PPAs. And I was like, dude, I really need to get with you and get some of this down on video. But okay, so you were with Sunrun. How did you end up making it? And were you still associated with Aztec at that time or no?
So the relationship was there with Aztec, and so I had a deal, and I contacted my buddy Ronnie, and he was like, "Dude, I do PPAs." He's like, "Hey, like, are you trained up?" And he was like, "I go, yeah." Like, he's like, "All right, let's start this. Let's start the sales side. We still have the installs going. Let's start the sales side." So we just full-time work on Aztec installations, and that's what we're doing now. You know what I mean? So this probably took place in February. And so now, I mean, 60% of his installs are Aztec. And so right now we're probably averaging about 6 sales a week.
Killing it.
Yeah, and so yeah, so we're doing it.
How
So we're
big's
doing
the
really good.
team? How big's the team doing 6 sales a week?
The team is, we got Chris, Steven, and then we got Chuck. So Chuck, Chuck and Charlie. So we probably have 5 full-time guys, and then we
Okay.
have another 4 part-time, and then we have one more he just left his car salesman job, making 20,000 a month to come full-time doing solar.
Man, all in, all in. That's how it's got to be,
But
right?
you know what? Solar brings freedom. You know what I mean? And so, you're at the car business and you're working there 6 days a week, all these crazy hours. Here, you make your own schedule. If you want a weekend off, you take the weekend off. But you definitely still need to put that time in.
And before we met, it was primarily all door knocking, right? It was all hitting doors.
Door knocking, a little social media, like referral to my personal friends and family. But that's pretty much it. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it was pretty much door knocking. We still have some of the guys, they're straight door knockers, but all the guys on our team, they come from the car business, and they're all internet sales managers. So they're used to getting leads and calling them and follow up with them and setting appointments. That was their primary job.
So good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And so now everyone's really excited with this new program that you brought along, is because now we're getting these leads and we have the people to actually call them, you know what I mean? Do the follow up, and they know how to set these appointments.
That's awesome, man. All right. So with Aztec now, how did you move over? So Sunrun was your first intro into PPA?
PPA. Yeah.
Selling PPAs?
Yeah.
And so when you came to Aztec, were you selling traditional deals, or you've been selling PPAs the whole time at Aztec?
So once we came to Aztec, we saw the success of PPAs, especially here in California. And I'm just going to do my pitch, right? Because you knock on the door, and with your traditional pitch, you're convincing someone to purchase a solar system for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, right? And so our pitch on the door is, knock, knock, knock. Hey, is this the Smith residence? Yeah. Hey, I know you probably get a lot of people here selling solar. It's California. Every door's been knocked on at least 3-4 times, Right. Oh, yeah. Well, we get PPA here all the time. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just here to give you guys a little information. So my name is Juan. I work with Aztec Solar. I don't know if you guys heard, but there's a new program where you can actually get all the benefits of going solar and without getting into any type of debt. What does that mean? Is it free solar? I didn't say that, right? But you're not going to get into any type of debt. You can still see that 30-40% discount on your utility bill and get the benefits of going solar without getting into any type of debt. I don't even need to ask for your social security number. Well, how is this? You know what I mean? It throws people off. Now you get them talking, right? Because a lot of times you knock on during traditional, solar, boom, this, you get their attention in 15 seconds or less. And if they ask you a question after those 15 seconds, you have a potential customer.
And you said something the other day that I really liked too, where you were like, hey, I'm with Aztec Solar. We're out here competing with PG&E. Yeah.
And so that's like a little further into the pitch, right? So they're asked question, well, how does this happen? Right. And I explained to them, well, PG&E, their rates will go up every single year. This year alone in the state of California, they went up 36.6% this year. And I actually have some slideshows. I'll even post those. I'll show those with you so you can post them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll share those. And so I'll start showing them slides, right? Here you go, 36.6%. And this was announced by the Fresno mayor in January. And it shows the news article with the websites. And so it's totally legit, right? So they can see it there. They can click on the link if they want, and they can read the article themselves. Right. And then I'll show them PG&E's actually rate schedule, because that's available on pgne.com. And it shows that right now you guys are paying 50 cents. In September of this year, it's going to go up 23.5%. So that 50 cents is going up 23%. And I show them the evidence, right? Now it's just evidence. So don't picture me as a solar company. Picture me as another electric company, right? Forget about the solar panels. Forget about all this stuff. Right. I came knock on your door, knock, knock, knock. Hello, my name is Juan. I work with Electric XYZ, and we're here to compete with PG&E. Okay, PG&E right now, they're at 50 cents. In September, they're going to raise another 23.5%. You're going to be well over 60 cents by the end of the year. So we're here offering you, maybe we start you off at 30 cents a kilowatt, and we promise for the next 25 years to not raise our rate no more than 3.5%. When PG&E this last year was 36%, the year before that was 27, 22, 25. You see the pattern that's going on here with PG&E?
Yep.
Oh, yes. I definitely see the pattern. Yes, it's outrageous. Do you know why you don't have a contract with PG&E, sir? Do you know why you haven't signed a contract? Well, why? Because if you signed a contract with PG&E, they wouldn't be able to raise the rates the way they do without your permission, without breaking contract.
That's wild.
And
what kind of in this stage of the conversation, are you getting any pushback, any objections that you're getting? What would be a common objection in that stage?
And there's people, we have a lot of sunrun people here. So some people have heard this, So those are the pushbacks you're going to get, Other pushbacks, there's some people who are still only paid $120 in the summer. So a lot of it's that, you're getting a lot of pushback is my bill, or a lot of them is just, they don't trust you because you're knocking on their door.
Okay, I can feel that.
Yeah.
That's how I am. If you knock on my door, man, I'm
I'm the same way. And now that's what I do. Most of our guys, everyone knocks on our door, you have 15 seconds to make an impression. So not every door is going to be a winner. We all know that,
right.
But you have 15 seconds to make an impression with the customer. Because if you don't make an impression the first 15 seconds, you're wasting their time, because that's the most valuable thing, right? They were sitting down, they were watching TV, they were playing with their kids, they were doing something. So if you don't get their attention the first 15 seconds, it's done. You lost their interest.
And when you compare this to actually selling the solar itself, what would you say the conversions look like? I would venture to guess the conversions on a PPA are a lot higher than when you're trying to get somebody in a $50,000 loan.
And I think so. Usually, if we get into a home, we probably have a 90% close rate.
Just somebody saying, all right, I'll listen.
I'll listen.
Because it kind of is a no-brainer once you hear it. When you told me that the other day, I almost sent you my Duke bill. Right?
but really, because it is. And so I use different pitches, right? Another pitch that I use is, there's this program, because in California, in the world right now, right? Inflation is at an all-time high. Interest rates are at an all-time high. So a lot of people are even scared to purchase solar anymore. Right. So they came out with this program where you could go solar debt-free. And so, okay, how does that work? And then they're always gonna do the, yada, 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 like they don't trust you, you know what I mean? And then explain why their bill is high. If you need to go into more detail. Do you know why your bill's so high? Well, why? Well, I don't know if you know this, but in the state of California, they actually charge you for bringing in electricity. Well, what do you mean? So California, they don't want to build any more power plants. So we actually buy power from Utah, from Nevada, from Iowa, and they actually charge you on your PG&E bill to ship that over here. Have you ever seen that on your bill? No. Do you have it real quick, just so I can show you, just to give you some information? And there you go. Now you got the bill.
Actually, the bulk of the bill is the shipping, right? Or a big portion of that bill is the shipping.
It's usually about 35, 40%.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's true. You know what I mean? So everything that we're saying, is not a lie. It's 100% facts. And there's websites to back everything up.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick shift here. And I know I've seen a mass exodus of solar companies from California recently with the switch from 2.0 to 3.0. Can you talk to me about how that's impacting the business, how PPAs make either more or less sense now that 3.0 is in place, and just how some of these guys that are fleeing the area, I know maybe you don't want them to stay, and they can go if they want to, but
they could go.
Yeah. But can you talk to me about how you were able to navigate that shift from 2.0 to 3.0 and how this model that you have makes so much sense?
And that's the easy part, because a lot of people think with the after 2.0 solar is over, right? So I have a lot of guys that are just joining now because they waited a little bit because they heard about NDM 2.0 changing. You know, after 3.0 comes out, there's going to be no more money in solar. Now's the time to get out. So the way the battery works, right? Batteries are so expensive, right? So if you have it as
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the difference is just you have to give them a battery with the deal. Is that it?
that is it. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So I mean, I think this is how it is most of the places, right? So in solar, you generate 100 kilowatts during the day, right? You get 100 kilowatts at night, correct?
Right.
That's how it works. So in the state of California, you produce 100 kilowatts during the day, you get 25 back at night from the utility company.
So they're not doing like essentially like no one-to-one net metering.
No, it's literally like 1 to a quarter.
Okay.
So the only way to get 100% is by adding a battery.
And
so that's the big
California
thing.
basically mandated that we want everybody to have a battery because we want everybody to have essentially their own one-to-one.
Their own little grid, right? Now, so instead of California doesn't have to build any more power supplies, everyone has their own little mini grid now.
Essentially, they didn't want to ship all that back since they're not getting it from the state anyways. The shipping of that was too much. And so, okay. Is that kind of what
how I propose it is California is just doing this to piss you off, but we're here to save you. We're here to save you, because what's nice so now that they need the battery, okay, they're generating, like they're their own power station. And that's how we explain it to them, right? Sun hits the solar panels, all the energy you produce goes into the battery, you pull from the battery, and it's just like the circle of life. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. So now you want to run your pool pump during the day, you want to do your laundry during the day, because everything you're using is being reproduced back into the battery. So that's how we do it. So there's 2 different types of batteries. Your storage only, and then there's your backup battery that most of the world is familiar with. But now they're doing the storage battery here in California to cut down some cost. Okay. And then most batteries, they're a 10-year warranty. Okay. Right. But on the PPA, you don't own the battery. So now you have warranty for the full time because it's not yours.
Right. And that's kind of one of the other benefits to the homeowner on the PPA versus selling, because once you sell them the system, they've got these warranties, but the warranties are only as good as the company you got them from, right?
Correct.
Is that accurate?
No, that is accurate. That is very accurate.
But with a PPA, they're just basically leasing the system to you, so they maintain that system because that's how they're getting paid is
by your access, what you produce.
So when a battery goes out, they just replace it, or a panel.
They just replace it. Panel goes out.
Maintenance needs to be done. Do they come out and do maintenance?
They still do it, and most of these companies, I mean, Sonova, we use Sonova and Everbright, mostly Everbright, but they all have their 85% production guarantees, and so those are still part of your PPAs, which is nice.
Okay, I want to get back into the pitch, but before we do, I need to backtrack a little bit just for the guys that have absolutely no idea what a PPA is. I know we've kind of alluded to it. Could you explain the PPA just like almost as if it was a definition?
So a PPA is called a power purchase agreement or purchase power agreement. However, here are 2 different purchase power agreement. Sure. Okay, so what it is you're purchasing power at a lower kilowatt rate than your current utility company.
Okay.
And it's debt free, no money out of pocket, no debt for you as well. For example, if you need to sell your home and you have a PPA, there's nothing for you to pay off. There's nothing for the homeowner that needs to pay it off. All you got to do is simply agree to the payment.
Right. And that's something I was going to get into as well. Like that's probably a common object. Like for anybody selling solar, a common objection is, what if I want to sell my house? Yeah. So can you explain how you overcome that? You kind of did, but can you really hit that of how, like, let's say I'm the homeowner and I'm like, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. What if I want to sell my house?
So that's great. So let's say you move in 3 years. Okay. In these 3 years, you're actually going to be saving, and I'll go to my graph or whatever. You'll be saving roughly $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. That's an extra $8,000, $9,000 in your pocket. And then when you sell your home, you hear all these horror stories about, oh, I can't sell my home because a homeowner didn't get approved for the additional $40,000. They don't want to take on the additional $40,000. So the beauty of going to PPA is you don't have any debt into the house. Like there's no debt. You don't need to pay $40,000. They don't need to pay $40,000. They're automatically approved to take over. So there's really nothing that you need to pay. All they need to do is agree to the payment, in which they're going to actually be paying a PG&E bill anyways. Wouldn't they want to pay a lower bill than PG&E?
100%. And
There
so
you go.
does that get kind of positioned as like almost like a selling point when you go to sell your house is, hey, now instead of having to pay PG&A, this typical rate, you actually get a solar system with that house, and that's going to make a house stand out in a market anyways, right? So,
Yeah. And in California, by 2040, I think it's something like that. They want to try to have every home have solar anyways.
and so are you able to, so there's obviously skepticism across the country on solar with a 3% adoption rate. Like it's a low adoption rate, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people are skeptical. Maybe California is a different market, but I can see the ability, just like listening to you, the ability to leverage this in other markets as well and feed into people's skepticism about the traditional route of going about getting solar. Meaning people, their main hesitation is like, yeah, I get that I'm going to save money, but you're talking about a $50,000, I'm going in $50,000 worth of debt. And so you can almost, when having this conversation, feed into that and be like, look, solar, I don't think right now solar makes sense. And you were saying this to me the other day of, look, all these dealer fees are high. All these expenses are extremely high right now. Buying solar doesn't necessarily make sense, but having solar makes a lot of sense. And is that how do you feed into that skepticism almost with people?
Yeah. I mean, this is sort of like sales 101, right? You want the customer to feel like they're right, even when they're a little wrong. You know what I mean? You want them to feel, you want them to feel like they are right. But make it feel like when you change their mind, but it was their idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, solar is just too expensive. You know what? You're right. Solar is too expensive, right? Who wants to put $50,000-$60,000 in debt right now, which we don't know which way the economy is going. We don't know who the next president's going to be, or we don't know what the future holds. So wouldn't you want to have that $50,000-$60,000 in credit available if you really, really needed it? Well, yeah. Well, now there's a way to do it without getting into any type of debt.
I'm learning right now on the call. So I'm like actively listening, actively learning. And this is beautiful. It really feels like a no-brainer. What would you say to the guys that are kind of been resistant on the PPA?
I think the guys, even myself, because when I was with Apricot, they were, it was purchase. And I think either company, right? Because even like Sunrun, they're all PPA, right? So you get the extreme of both worlds, right? But I think we really need to find out and make sure, right? Customer still comes first. Right. And that's exactly how I explained the program. I explained this program and said, every program is different for everybody. It really is, right? Some people like this PPA program because of there's no debt involved, right? Some people may just want the tax credit, but that's even run differently now and for your taxes. I'm not a CPA, but look into it with your CPA. He'll let you know what the changes have been made.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to.
But just the whole PPA shift for these guys is people thought on the purchasing PPA was a ripoff, right? That's what a lot of people hear. Oh, leasing's bad. Well, nothing's ever bad. It's just not done right. It's still the same. If they're saving money and you provide them with enough panels so they don't get any type of true ups, it's a great thing. But it's always just about perspective. And if the customer, this is something the customer wants, we're here to service them. If they want to do a purchase, we're still here to service them on the purchase. But especially right now in this day and age with inflation that's high, our dealer fees, they're at 34. I've seen some at 40%.
Crazy.
Right. So we're not doing customers favor by selling it to them, because literally their dealer fee is higher than their tax incentive that they may or may not get.
That's insane. What, in your opinion, like what, or let me ask you this, what questions do you ask when qualifying somebody to see which route is best for them?
So number one, I'll ask them if they have taxable income,
Okay.
right? Because you can't get your tax incentive if you don't have taxable income. That's just across the board. So that's the number one question I ask. Then I ask them if they're W-2 or 1099, right? And they'll say mostly everybody's W-2. And then I'll be like, well, 95% of my customers go with this program, and that's when I go and tell them about the PPA program. Go with this program. It's a debt-free program where you actually don't get to any debt, because right now with interest rates at all-time high, inflation, and we don't know which way the economy is going, a lot of people want to keep that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in their credit available, because what if they need to do something with it? Or what if you want to buy another house? Or what if you want to buy a car? You want to keep that available to yourself.
Yeah, because you're not destroying your DTI this way
Mhm.
by going this route. Let me ask you, okay, so on the financing side, is it the same typically as a purchase? Like, do you have to have a certain credit score for the
Same
PPA?
thing. Yeah,
Okay.
same thing. And that varies with the company you're using, with the finance company that you're using, whether it be Sonova, Sunrun, or Everbright. Typically 650. I've seen some 620s, 610s we're able to do, you know. And so, but credit's still the same. The only thing, there's some companies, like we use Everbright a lot. They run a Nexus Lexus, so we don't need to ask for their social. So which makes a customer feel really good about it.
Yeah, that's wild. But I guess my question there turns into, well, they have to have a 650, but if they sell their house, you said that they don't have to run anything, or the people that buy the house will still have to run their credit.
They'll have to. It's a soft inquiry, just like everywhere. Like, you know,
Okay.
it's a soft inquiry. And let's say they don't qualify. The homeowner will need to pay a $200 fee for them to qualify.
Oh, so like easy, you sell a house, no big deal, 200 bucks is
Yeah,
nothing.
no big deal. No
Okay.
big deal at all.
What, okay, just to try and make sure I'm being fair here, what would the cons be to a PPA?
The cons would be the escalator,
Okay.
right? And so, and you have power on the escalator, right? So typically you see like a 3.5, a 2.9, or a 0, right? And so let's say out there in Florida, where I don't know if the utility rates increase like they do here in California.
They do.
Like I said, PG&E 30% this year, over 20 in the past 5 years. So a 3.9 escalator compared to a 20% is completely, it's extravagant. Like, it's a big difference, right?
Right.
Now, if you have other utility companies and they're only going up 10% every year, well, does it make sense to do a 3.9 for them? Because that means their cents per kilowatt, wherever they start off at, whether it's 20 cents or 30 cents, that's getting increased 2.9% or 3.9%. Right.
Okay. So what would you, is there a threshold that you would look at and say, all right, maybe the PPA doesn't make sense, like the increased threshold isn't enough?
It depends if they're on like any type of like programs with PG, like with PG, with the utility company.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And for it to really make sense. For me over here where I'm at, I haven't really seen that, because PG&E is just outrageous. We have Edison too; they're outrageous.
Right.
So even with the 3.9, it makes sense, because what they might be paying in 25 years is part of what they're paying now. But then inflation in 25 years is going to be a lot higher than what it is today. Well, exactly.
Crazy.
You know, so that's, in all honesty, that's probably the bad thing that's about it, but it's also the good thing that's about it.
And how long are these contracts for? Like, how long is the lease? for?
25 years still, 25 years. And at the end of 25 years, they have the option to keep it and purchase it at market value, which I tell the customer I never recommend because they're going to be 25-year-old panels, and who wants to purchase those?
Right.
They could upgrade to whatever new system they have going on at the time, so they could redo the whole PPA
You just have
contract.
PPA in perpetuity, essentially.
Yeah, right. And I tell them, or if you just miss PG&E so much and you want to go back to them, they'll take you back. So
Right.
they'll take the panels off for free, you know?
And if for some reason they hated it before the 25 years, they would have to pay to get that removed themselves, essentially.
Yeah. And so after 5 years on a PPA, there's a payout. And so you could call the company that you did the financing through, and then they'll give you the payoff.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't imagine somebody disliking their solar system more than their utility company.
Yeah. And I tell people, solar works for everybody. Everyone's going to save on solar. And unless you're paying $80 a month in the summer, then solar is going to save for everybody.
It's just about which mechanism is the best for you. And so that we're just being truly fair, the benefits of a sale is they eventually pay that off. But by the time they pay that off anyways, like you said, it's going to be 25-year-old panels.
Yeah.
Whereas with a lease, you just get new panels.
Yeah.
And if something's not working correctly on your system with a purchase, you're kind of holding.
You're on your own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because most inverters are 10 years. Right. And we all know solar edge inverters go out sometimes in the first year and they need to be replaced. Right. Batteries, they have 10-year warranties. We don't know the lifespan of these batteries yet.
Right. Because it's a newer technology, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. And then now, I mean, you have all these, since NEM3, you have all these companies building batteries now. And so you sort of wonder, like, how long, how fast did they do this? What are the like longevity of it? What's going to happen in 5 years? So a lot of these newer companies, we don't know nothing about them. Like, we know the Enphase, we know Tesla, we know those batteries, but these other ones that are coming up, we don't know. And so the PPA just sort of protects them.
All right. Tons of information there. Now I'm going to ask you, I guess, a question. We'll touch back on something that you touched on a moment ago that I know all the sales guys will really love. Can you talk to us about the money again? Talk to us about the difference, how that's structured. Are they only getting paid? Are they getting paid some kind of monthly payment, or getting this all kind of upfront, like a M2 payment? Like, how can you talk to us about the difference in money, just everything financial on here?
So when I was doing purchases, right, average commission, just like everybody else, $7,000-8,000. So a good one, we get $10,000.
Right.
So I mean, I'm guessing with pay structures, everything's sort of different with everybody else, but commission wise, what we get, our average commission on PPAs is probably around $12,000 to $13,000. And
what
so,
size system is that typically?
What
size system would you say that is?
Man, I've gotten a $10,000 voucher on like a 5 kilowatt system.
Get out of here. How is that possible? It's not based on that?
No, it's not based on it. It's based off of like the install cost, right? So there's companies that do PPA and they'll give you $1,000 per kilowatt. And so every company pays different. They just do. And so some companies don't want to do I know PPA paperwork is a little bit extra, like a little extra more paperwork to do. So companies vary on how they pay. Us over here in California, we sort of, you get it like after M2, you get 80% of it, right? And then after activation, you get the last 20%. For our average commission on these PPAs that we're doing, highest one I've seen that we've done, and this is NEM 3.0, is 36,000, and that was a 10 kilowatt.
Wow, that's crazy, brother.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? Is there anything else that these guys should know about PPAs pitch, anything that they should know?
If you sell a PPA, you're going to make more money than you would on a purchase 1,000% of the time. 1,000% of the time. And it's in the escalator. And like I said, California, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense for us to do it in California because it's 3.5% compared to 20 or 30%. So these customers are still saving and they know about it. It's not like we're not telling them about it, right? You lower the escalator, your commission goes down.
I got a big ask for you. Could we do a practice pitch real quick?
Yeah. We can definitely.
I'll be the homeowner, and that I think guys will benefit greatly from being able to hear just like the fluid how this is laid out. You don't have to go like, it doesn't have to be like a 50-minute pitch or anything, but if you don't mind just kind of giving me the rundown one more time so that guys know how to position this. And then there's one last thing I want to ask you, and then we're all very grateful for you taking the time.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do this.
We'll pretend like it's a lead that came in, since these guys are typically getting leads that way. So
I'm still working on this pitch, man.
Hey, you got it down, man. You've been killing it, actually. So you're doing good. You're doing good, brother.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. And
all
so
right.
Ring.
This is Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. This is Juan. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, Juan. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I saw that you put in a lead on a Facebook post. Is that something that you did?
Yeah, I did. I actually filled out my information.
All right, awesome. Hey, I just wanted to give me 30 seconds of your time really quick, just to give you some information. I know you probably get a lot of phone calls about solar or purchasing solar. I'm just here to give you some information. There's actually a new way for you to still get the benefits of going solar, saving your 30 to 40% on your utility bill, and actually going debt free. Is this something that you've heard of before?
No, everybody that comes to me is just trying to, put me in debt.
Oh yeah, that's horrible. Just right now, I mean, it's almost scary to purchase solar right now. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, the price, I think I was quoted before, it was like $55,000 for a system on my house.
That's a lot of money.
It is. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And so, I mean, right now people are sort of backing up because interest rates at an all-time high, inflation's going crazy, and our economy is just, we don't know which way it's going to go. So it's pretty scary to spend $55,000. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you just don't, like you said, I mean, you don't know where things are headed. So I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm just here to tell you about this program. So we actually developed this in California about 2 years ago, where you can actually get all the benefits of going solar, going debt free. You like that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm listening.
No, yeah. And so this usually catches a lot of people's attention. Let me just explain a little bit more. Okay. So I don't know if you know, in California, there's actually a shortage of power. I don't know if you looked on your PG&E bill on the back, where you're just like myself, where I just sort of just pay it because I have to pay it. But They actually charge you, 30 to 40% on just transmission and distribution fees. And so what California is doing, or what the solar company is doing to combat that, is by putting solar on your roof, you take out the middleman in the transmission and distribution fees, because you're getting all of your energy directly from the sun. Now, until California decides to tax the sun, you're going to be saving a lot of money just off of that, right?
Oh, they're going to definitely figure out a way to tax the sun.
It's the government. They're going to figure out something.
Absolutely, man. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What is your lowest bill that you currently pay throughout the year?
Lowest bill was probably $100, 120.
$120. Okay, awesome. What do you think it would be in the peak time, like right now when it's super hot?
Well, I just got a bill for $520 something.
Dang, I bet you want to turn your AC off, but you can't.
It's crazy. It's because my AC was messed up, and so I know it's killing me, man. It's killing me.
Yeah. And so that's crazy. So it sounds like you'd be a perfect candidate for this, to be honest, because paying $500, I mean, it's horrible. Yeah. What have you seen in the last 5 years as far as your bill? Like, would you say 5 years ago that $500 bill was maybe about $200-300?
Yeah, it's that 100% has increased. you know, I don't know exactly the numbers because like you said, I keep it on auto draft, my bill on auto draft, but I'm noticing my wife comes in and tells me, hey, our power bill is, like she told me last night, our power bill is $500, and I was gasping for air.
Happens all the time. Happens all the
Yeah.
time. And so, so just a little bit more about this. So the way this works is called a power purchase agreement. Okay, so you're not purchasing any solar panels. You're not paying for anything to be put on your roof. So what it is you're just simply just purchasing power at a lower kilowatt rate, right? So
Okay.
right now with PG&E, we're at 50 cents, and you're about to go up to 60 cents. Okay, in September. Okay, so pretty much I get all of your information. I got to get your usage, your last 12 months usage. And I get your information about like what type of programs you're on with PG&E, and I plug all that into the system, and it shoots me back a cents per kilowatt per rate. So let's just say that this rate is 25 cents. Okay, don't even think about me as a solar company anymore. Okay, because now you're not purchasing any panels, so don't ever think about me about a solar company.
Okay.
Right? Imagine me coming to your door, knock, knock, knock. Right? And said, "Hey, Kyle, this is my name is Juan. I work with Electric XYZ. We're here to compete with PG&E. PG&E right now is at 50 cents a kilowatt, and they're going to go up to 60 cents at the end of September.
Okay.
We're proposing to you that we're going to start you off at 25 cents a kilowatt, and we're not going to go up no more than 3.5% for the next 25 years. You'd say yes, right off the bat, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's what this is. So you're not purchasing any solar. You're not paying for panels to be on your roof. They're going to be on your roof, but all it is you're just purchasing that power at a lower rate per kilowatt. How does that work? What's the catch? Right?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question to ask you. What is the catch?
What is the catch, right? There's no catch. Company makes money off the excess energy and they sell it back to your utility company. So the only way the company actually makes money is if you're saving money. So if you're not saving any money, the company's not making any money.
Can you explain that a little bit better, a little bit more to me of like how is the company making money?
So let's say, you get it at 25 cents a kilowatt. Okay. So, and they're able to sell 10 cents back to the utility company at 35 cents.
Okay.
That's how they're making their money.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So they're taking the difference in between what I'm generating for
so
what the
they're taking your savings because you're the one saving all the money, right? And they're selling it back to your utility company.
But I still get the savings because now I'm at.
You still get the savings because you're locked in at 25 cents a kilowatt for the year.
With just a small increase each year.
What? Yeah. And then here, and I'll even show you, right? And so I usually bring out my calculator, right? Bring on my calculator. So 0.25 cents. Okay. That's what you're starting off at. Times 0.039. Is that even 1 cent?
No.
Okay. So next year, you'll be paying less than 1 cent a kilowatt.
I mean, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. And so just from right now, you're at 50 cents. And in September, in the same year, a couple of months, you're going to go from 50 cents to over 60 cents.
So my bill this $500 bill that I have right now would essentially be closer to $250. Is that right?
You know what? I have to get all your information and plug all this. We need to see how many panels you need. We need to get your usage because we want to make sure that we do it correctly.
Okay.
Do you have your utility bill on hand?
Yeah, actually, I do. What I can do is I can send it to you if that's all right.
Yeah, definitely. I just need a couple of questions. Ask you a couple of personal questions to get your usage, or if you want to do it online, I can walk you step by step.
That's beautiful, dude. That was marvelous. By the way, was there more that you had to go through there?
I mean, you if there's any objections, then you keep going.
What objections? Because again, I don't know what I don't know. What objections have you heard in the past that might come up?
So over the phone, like I said, is different for me because we haven't done a whole lot over the phone. But typically it's going to be price, of course, right? Sometimes you hit the customer a little high. It is what it is, One of the things I do, so when we call PG&E, they give us their 12 months usage and their 12 months payments.
12 months usage. Okay.
Yeah, so I average everything out. But I asked the customer, what is your average payment? Right? I have the information, but I just asked them, what do you think your average bill is for the year? Right?
Typically, it's a lot lower than what it actually is.
Well, if it is, you have proof. Right? If they say, oh, I only pay my average is probably 200. Well, we got the last 12 months right here, do the math, boom, 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 and it's actually $250. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? Sometimes you get a customer, oh, my average is $300 when their average is $250. So they're still saving, you know what I mean?
Okay, and with a PPA, you're calculating this in a way in which it should be 100% offset, so they're not having to still use PG&E, right?
Correct. You do that 100%, right? So now with an M3, it's actually more about the battery, right? So
Okay.
does that make sense? So with the battery, you want to make sure you size them the right battery, because if a battery can only hold so much, okay, let's say the battery holds 110% of the 100% of the battery of the panels that you put, right?
No, okay.
But you put 100. Okay, so let's just say 100 kilowatt fits in the battery. Okay, but you're able to store 120, right? So battery, it will store 120. You're producing 100. Okay, so what's the point of producing 170 when this only holds 120?
Right.
Right. So there's no more.
Yeah.
There's no more huge offsets anymore. There's no more 130%. What I mean? None of that doesn't make sense anymore.
And you don't need to sell that anyways. Like some guys would, I guess, sell that so they can get bigger commission checks, but you don't need to sell that with a PPA because you're already making substantially more.
Yeah. And the only time I would ever do that usually is I would ask customers, and this actually, I do this till this day, whether it's PPA or whether it's purchase. I ask the customer, are you going to be getting a pool? Plan on a pool? Yes or no? Oh, no. Jacuzzi? No. Any more children? Because by you having, this is a family of 3, well, if you're still building, right? If you're still building your family, in 5 years, your electricity bill is going to be a little bit more than it was. You're going to use more energy than what you did 5 years ago because now you have more people in the house. And this just builds credibility with the customer because a lot of people won't ask that question.
Yeah, they're not looking into the future. They're just looking, they've got commission.
I got your 12 months. I got your 12 months. And that's all I care about. Right? Any more children? Parents, are your parents getting older? Are they going to move into the house? Because at that time, they need to be comfortable. AC is going to be on longer. Heater's going to be on longer. Everything's going to be on longer because they need to be comfortable.
And with a PPA, can they add on additional panels if they need it in the future?
It's the same thing like everything else. It's a second system. But what I'd recommend is adding another battery.
Okay, just because there's so much extra energy that they capture that.
Because I think the battery takes about 4 hours to fill up, right? And so if you have 2 batteries, then you're able to use more energy at night.
And now also another benefit, if something happens, earthquakes, hurricanes here in Florida, something like that, and power's out, then
you got a grid.
Yeah, you're not relying upon PG&E.
Yeah.
No, this was wonderful, man. That was a complete masterclass. So I wanna take a minute and ask you this. Are you actively hiring? Are you looking for reps? Is there anything that you're looking for?
Yeah. So like I said, we're always hiring over here for reps in California. And so if you're in California, we have our own EPC. Like I said, we do our own installs. We use Everbright mostly. We do have Sonova as well. And so, we definitely are hiring. And so with the hire, we do some trainings. We're not afraid to travel. So we're in Central California. We went out to Barstow and did a little blitz out there for a weekend. We made about $70,000 in commission between 3 of us.
I might have to take a trip to California. I might have to take a trip. So if there's guys in the group and they want to say run ads in California and start generating leads and selling over there, is that something that you would allow?
That's something we'll definitely allow. Something we'll definitely welcome. They need training on far as like what PG&E, what Edison does. as far as rates go and what these bills look like. We're definitely here to help for any of that.
And for the record, I'm personally going to be onboarding as well. Like California was when I was completely living alone until our conversation the other day. So at some point next week or the following, I want to onboard with you as well.
Yeah.
I'll benefit greatly from the training, but also like you're a guy I definitely want to do business with. You do solid business. You take care of homeowners. You've got integrity. Can you talk to these guys? Because I know install times is a big deal. Can you tell them kind of what you told me around install times?
So install time is typically about 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. And and you got to remember, like, we're a smaller company. We are growing. We have two sets of install teams, which the CEO, he's happy to grow. If we're getting more deals in, we're getting another crew. You know what I mean? That's how he works. And he's on board with whatever we're doing here on the sales side, and he's going to accommodate. If we need 6 crews, then we're going to have 6 crews. And so, but he's willing to accommodate anything. Install time, like I said, about 3 to 4 weeks. And then you get your 80% after M2 is complete. Okay, so it's a 80-20 split, right? So you'll get, after your M2 is complete, after installation, you'll get your 20% the week after activation.
Super easy. So in total, you'll be paid up 100% typically within about what, like 2 months?
2.5 months, just depending. I mean, there's some, houses that have different problems and whatnot, but yeah.
That's beautiful. And you can now make almost 50% more on a deal, 40% more on a deal. You can serve a homeowner better because you're not putting them in massive amounts of debt. It's just a better option, and you guys can make more money. This is thank you so much for.
It's a win-win. It really is a win-win. You're helping the customer save money, and you're feeding your family. Hopefully lobster.
Hey, with PPAs, they'll definitely be doing that, right? Absolutely, man. Is there anything else you want to tell these guys?
No, man. If you guys just have, if you guys have questions, even if you don't want to on board with us and you guys just need help too, just shoot a text, shoot me a message. Anything you guys want, man. We're a family here. We're all here to make money. We're all here to see each other win. So whatever you guys need, doesn't even matter what it is. Just let me know if you guys have any questions about PPA in different states. I mean, we could look that up too and see what that looks like. I'll travel anywhere too.
That's kind of you, man. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.